You can do something which breaks with a system or which is breaking with what you did before, but it will be almost impossible to speak about something which is totally new with no connection whatsoever with many things done before. So if you take something very new, I think any of this work is physically totally new. The principle is not new in my work, but even this principle come back from many other works which are absolutely far from the physicality of the piece. But you can find easily some lines. Working with transparency, for example, it's something which is crossing my work since 50 years. Working for the show here, I realized that maybe it was some other possibilities with the same technique, which means a kind of a free frame, and then the use of transparency and transparent filters. Except by some photos and plane, I never seen the gallery before, so I also try to do something where I can more or less adapt easily to such a space, something which is not directly done with the idea of the site. In the end of '67, I decided not to look anymore to find a place to work because it was very hard to find. I was having no money. That was in Paris at that time. And so I jumped on the idea, what can we do if we don't have any more a studio as an artist or painter or sculptor to work? And of course, at the beginning, the challenge was enormous, and I start to work in the street because with no place to work, the street was always open, and all my work started seriously from that point. So I am really for 50 years always moving, always going to the place, always working with the space, etc. But it's opened a new road, that's all. You work in your studio, you are not obliged to show anything to anyone. It's your problem and it's your privacy. If I work in the street, at least the work is with thousands of witnesses. So the privacy about the work is totally non-existing anymore. Just take out the studio and you are not going to do the same work. To use the term in situ was at the very early stage, like the late 60s, where everything I was doing was done with the space, in the space, for or against the space. And it was strictly no way, physically speaking, to take it and to play with that someplace else. You want to see the piece in the Palais Royal, you have to go there. You cannot think, maybe I will see the same work in Tokyo in 2 years. It's finished. You have to go there. Or the rest, which is maybe less than 10%, plays with always the idea of the place, always with the idea of having a certain position, but always playing with the fact that when it will be attached to this wall or to this space, it will become very specific to the place. I started to think about the way to create my own architecture instead of being completely dependent of the given architecture. And then started this idea of works which are situated. So they built a situation, then that situation can be recreated someplace else, and under certain conditions can move from one place to another and show how the situation, the new situation, is going to completely change the work. The majority of work of art plays a game of being totally autonomous, which means it can be visible anywhere in the world. So I think my work is much more reduced. You never can detach any of my work, in situ or not, from the place where it is. Outside, inside, in a village, in a big city, in a museum, you cannot detach. So in this way, my work is never autonomous.